James and I have been telling stories together for, about 20 years as the Patchwork Players
Story Theater! Yes.
So we love to tell stories together, and one of our favorite stories that also begins once many, many years ago, a certain piper from Scotland decided to make a trip over to Ireland to share his piping.
Ah, yes. Now, the life of a piper is a wonderful life. I get to travel around from town to town, to village, playing music for people working in the fields. Sometimes they give me food, sometimes a place to sleep, and if I'm very lucky, some coin.
Well, that worked wonderful in the summer and into the fall, also really good. But suddenly it started to be around this time of year, not in Southern California where it's 95 degrees, and the snows began to come.
Yes. Oh, and trudging through the snow, and clothes are all rattled and torn, and I'm freezing, and oh, my boots are in terrible shape. The snow just keeps coming in under the snows with a flap, and it's freezing. Ooh.
So he was walking along through the countryside when suddenly he bumped into something, almost tripped over it.
This is a lump in the snow. What could this be? It's a boot. It looks about my size. A nice looking boot. Wait, there's a lump over there. Hey. Oh, another boot. 2 boots for me. All right, I'll just grab those boots. You won't budge a bit. Let me see here. More snow. Legs, torso, and a dead man. That dead man just lying in the road under the snow. A dead man with beautiful, gorgeous boots. I'm sure he has no need for those anymore.
So as it happened, not only was he a very fine piper, but he happened to actually carry with him a kit what he used to be able to repair instruments, and so he pulled right out his saw.
All right, we'll grab one ankle. Good, 1 foot, put that in my bag. 2 fine boots. I'll get those feet off sooner or later, I'm sure. Off we go. I still need to find a place to sleep, though.
So he went not very far down the road when he saw a farmhouse with a light on it. That looked inviting. You could look in and you could see a little fire, and he went right on up and knocked right on the door.
Oh, hello, is anyone home? I can see the lights. Hello?
Yes. The farmer came right to the door and said, "What are you doing out here? We don't need any beggars around here."
I'm not a beggar, sir. I'm not a beggar. I'm a piper, one of the finest pipers in the land, and I've been traveling, but it's so cold, and I was hoping I could play some pipes for you and let me sleep here.
We have no need for that trash around here. Leave and be gone. Get out of here.
This is terrible. I don't know where I'm going to end up now.
Well, he got just a little ways down the path when the farmer's wife came out and said, Sir, come on back, please. Come back.
Yes, lady. Yes, my lady.
I have to apologize for my husband. He's just like one of those grumpy old men, and, well, I would like to invite you in, but, he's very adamant about it, but I have another idea.
Oh, yes.
We have just around back, we have a little barn there, and we have 12 cows that we keep in over the winter. Perhaps you'd like to come and spend the night there. The cows are all warm, and it's actually quite a pleasant place to stay.
Well, it won't be the first barn I've ever slept in, and probably not the last.
Well, you're welcome to stay there. And,
please do.
Well,
thank you so much.
And let me give you a crust of bread, a little stew.
Oh, thank you.
But
Yes?
one warning I want to give you.
Uh-huh.
When you go into the barn, don't get too near to that last cow, the black one over there. She's a bit snappish, and she might try to take a bite out of you.
Oh, okay. Well, inside of the barn is so warm and so comfortable. You can imagine with 12 cows in one barn, that's a lot of body heat. So he was very warm and body heat. Now that's a good idea. With all these cows, when they're so hot, I'll take these boots out with these poor dead feet and put them under a cow. That'll warm that up fine, and I'll be able to pop those feet right out. And then I'll just sleep until morning and come through that.
So he went off to sleep, had a very good sleep it was, because, well, it was practically like being in the tropics without that cow heat going on in there. And suddenly, before he knew it, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and he woke with a start.
Oh, well, I can't still be here when the farmer comes out and finds me. He'll be very angry at me and his wife. I'll just, oh, the feet. Oh, ooh, yes. These are nice and defrosted feet. I can just, one boot, another boot, and I will try those. Oh my gosh. These are probably the best boots I've ever worn. Soft, smooth leather. Oh, I love these boots. What am I going to do with... Oh, I know, that old farmer. I know his type. He's the type who says, you know, the only difference between an onion and a bagpipe is that nobody cries when you cut up a bagpipe. I know his type. I'm going to play a trick on him. I'm going to put those feet back in my old boots. I'll just leave them over there by the snappy cow. Snappy cow, go ahead.
And so he put them right down by where the black cow was sleeping. And then he creeped out of the barn, but he didn't leave. He went just around the corner where he could peek in the window. Well, now, before you know it, the farmer's wife woke up, and she came quietly into the barn because she was feeling a little bad that here the poor piper had to sleep out here, but she tried not to wake him up, but she was looking, and he was nowhere to be seen. She looked in each stall until she got to the very final one, and she said, "Whoa! Husband! Whoa! Come quick, come quick!" And the farmer came running out and said, "What in the world are you yelling about?" She said, "Husband, this is terrible. The cow ate the piper." So meanwhile, the piper's looking in the window. The husband said, "Oh my goodness, this is not good. This is not good. You know, we own that cow. We probably could be held responsible. We're going to have to think of something. What can we do? What can we do?" The wife said, "Well, you know, hardly anybody knew him very well. You know, he was from away over in Scotland. Perhaps we could take and we could bury those feet out back." "Yeah, good idea, good idea." So they took those feet and the boots and they went to the back. It was still, the sun was still coming up. They got a shovel, they brushed away the snow, they dug a wee hole, and they put the boots with the dead feet in there, covered it up, buried it. Perhaps it was under a juniper tree, we don't know. But they with the snow, and then they went in the house and they said, "Okay, that was really a close one. Goodness, it's time to make some breakfast." They were doing some cooking. They made a beautiful mug of tea with a wee bit of whiskey in it, sat down, started drinking, and said, "Whew, that is really a relief," when suddenly they started hearing a strange sound. They both looked at each other, and then they turned and they looked out the window towards that grave of those feet. And there they could see a piper standing right there. And he looked directly at them and then started, all the while he's playing, coming towards them. They both said, "We gotta get out of here!" And they went out, they slammed the door, they ran as fast as they could. "Let's go!" Ah!
I knew they were the superstitious types. That's ridiculous. But they've left the house with all that delicious food. Oh, I'll go inside and there is rashers of bacon frying in the pan and a couple of fresh eggs. Oh, just crack those in there and get those cooking. And a nice cup of tea. Oh, that's going to be delicious. What a fine breakfast this is going to be. Delicious. They're knocking at the door. Well, it can't be the farmer and his wife. I saw them running way off over the hills. Okay, all right, okay. Hello, hello.
They looked over, and there was an old guy with crammy clothes, and he was just standing there.
Oh, snow is all over your body. What are you doing outside in the freezing cold? You'll catch your death. Come inside. I have food. We have tea, we have bacon, and we have a lovely fire going over there. You can just go over there, sit by the fire, kick your boots off, and warm your feet by the fire, and I'll get you some tea.
I would if somebody hadn't stolen my feet. And they said that Piper somehow slipped out the door and ran down the street. And they said he went back to Scotland as quickly as he could, and he was never, ever heard of in Ireland ever again.
And that is the Piper's Revenge!
Okay, and we have one more story that James and I want to
I'm
share.
going to give a little prologue.
Oh, why don't you do a little prologue?
The prologue. This story takes place not in the past and not tomorrow, but maybe someday after tomorrow. And it takes place in an imaginary world, the backdrop of the UN, an imaginary place where all the world's problems are solved. That's in the future, though. So now, oh, and I forgot the players. Two humble, but kind translators for the UN.
Well, nobody I knew really even believed in aliens or UFOs when they first arrived. They were kind of weird looking. They were sort of like warthogs.
No, they weren't like warthogs. Imagine Steve Bannon and a warthog. That would be, they're horrible little creatures, horrible.
Well, and they were wearing like sort of strappy outfits.
Okay, so warthogs and lederhosen. That doesn't make it any better.
I was around the day when they all landed.
That's right. Their great silver ships were over pretty much all the major cities and population centers in the world. Everybody was on every channel, everywhere. They were just hanging there in the air.
Well, and of course, at first we were nervous. Who are these guys? But we quickly found out they called themselves the Canamet, and they had come to speak to the world. And I was there when they came to bring the gifts to the United Nations.
Now, the Canamet came forward to the gathered assembly. All the streamers were there, all the news people, everybody was there. The Canamet stood up before the UN and said, "We have a gift for you. We can give you the gift of limitless power." You see, we've traveled through many worlds throughout the universe, and we've been giving our gifts to the world, making the universe a better place. And we have limitless power.
Now we don't really know where they traveled from, but they had been traveling for a long time, long enough that they had learned Russian and Spanish and a couple other languages, but they were able to speak. But then, we're translators. We were busy translating all of this, but we were trying to figure out, okay, wait, limitless power, that's kind of a crazy gift. How does that work?
I don't believe that. Something for nothing? No, that can't be right. There's got to be a trap.
Well, it found out there wasn't a trap. It was amazing. All of a sudden they had, this very simple machine, and it replaced everything. It replaced nuclear and water and solar and gas. It was just like, all of a sudden we went from long lines and expensive energy to, it was practically free. Wow, that was a great gift. And then the Canamet got ready to give gift number 2.
Ooh, gift number 2. was an amazing chemical they brought with them we could make so easily, and it did something about fixing the nitrates in the soil. I'm not a scientist, I don't know, but it made things grow in the desert, it made things grow everywhere. So every nation in the world, even the poorest nation, had all the food they could use.
Well, this was amazing to go, even the deserts, the junk, everything was blooming. It was so wonderful. It went from, there was not a hungry person on the entire planet. And then, as though it was a fairy tale, they came with the third wish or gift.
Yes. The third gift we have for you, have we been sharing across the stars, is the end to war. And a great big silver spider thing with 3 legs came out into the General Assembly Hall. It sat down and started to glow, a cobalt blue, and that was, it said, this is the end of all war.
Well, not only all war, the end of all weapons. Suddenly, every weapon of mass destruction, and even like things like guns and knives, gone! Nothing. There were no more weapons left.
Yeah, sure, but we're still human beings. We'll be fighting tooth and claw soon enough. Just you wait.
Well, as it happened, so the United Nations was made, well, you know, to try to stop war and help feed people and work. Well, we no longer needed the United Nations, but you know, those of us translators who worked there, well, we needed jobs then, and the Canamets invited us to come work for them and get their message out to the world.
Sure, I'll take the job. I need the money, but you know, keep your enemies close. I want to keep an eye on these guys. I don't trust them at all. No.
Well, before I knew it, people, like, the world was so happy. It was really happy. Everything was really good. And then the Canamets started saying, well, perhaps you might be interested in coming to our home world and seeing what it's like.
Now, the way they made it sound, it was like Club Med. All expenses, everything paid, have no beads. And it's just beautiful. When they announced that their people were going to go to the Canamet world, well, they lined up for miles outside the Canamet embassy just waiting to get a ticket. But they were so hard to come by. You either had to be somebody special or know somebody special to really get a good chance at a ticket.
Well, as it happened, because I had had long service as a translator and a lot of good linguistic skills, I managed to score a ticket. And I knew it was going to be time to go. But one of the things we noticed that was so interesting, as the ships came to load up the people to send them off, every ship came loaded up with copies of the book.
Book. Now, the book. Every Canamet on the planet, I'm sure, had a copy of the book. Everyone was carrying around a copy of the book. I needed to see what was in that copy of the book. Then I finally, one day I was keeping my eye out, and I saw one just sitting there on a counter with nobody watching. I snatched that copy, and I took it for my own.
Well, as linguists, it was time. Now, we looked at it, and it was like a combination of it looked like sort of Chinese characters, Egyptian hieroglyphics. It took some serious work, but before we know it, finally had cracked the code for the title.
Oh no, this is very hard to read once we get the idioms down, but it looks like the title is How to Serve Man. So that's us, right? Yeah. How to
Wow,
serve man.
see, they are such good people.
I don't know.
So wonderful humanitarians. The whole book just about how to be of service to us.
Okay, all right. So if that's what you think, all right. I'm gonna keep looking at this because this something has to be. If you can find it. Okay, all right. I got it here. Chapter 1. Who to serve? Well, they should have said whom, but we got to check that.
All right, well, you know, you keep working on that. I'm going to get ready. It's the week I am going to get to go to the home planet where I'm going to go there. It's going to be wonderful, amazing.
Right. Okay, chapter 2. Starters.
Okay, well, okay. I got my suitcases packed. You know, it's hard to know what to pack when you're going to the home world, but I brought some party clothes and I brought some things that were going to be really, really fun. I can hardly wait. I felt like a kid getting ready to go to Disneyland.
All right, okay, all right. She's going on her way, but I think I've got the third chapter, the first course. Okay, all right. The first course.
Okay, well, it's the time. The ship is there. I'm standing in line, ready to go. I'm coming up. I'm seeing my friend.
But
okay.
No, it's not a religious book. It's not a humanitarian book. It's a cookbook. No.
But it was too late. And the translator was off. And that is a story that probably later on included the eating of some dead bodies called The Translators, that was written by me.